I've spent like the last hour and a half getting ready for this.
I spent 2 minutes setting up my computer. Hey, I did put stuff on, like I put on mascara and like clear lip balm.
That's amazing.
So now I look much better than I did before.
Isabel's like, I rolled out of bed. What are you talking about? I'm not kidding.
I literally rolled out of bed, turned on my computer, and got into it.
Okay. Hair is always the best when you like just get up. Like,
No,
that's the
Not
only
mine.
time my hair can do that is when I've been sleeping.
not mine.
Okay.
You guys,
Except I did.
huh?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Kristen. Thank
What?
you.
Like Isabel's hair, like you can only do that when you're sleeping, and she's like, "Well, not mine."
But it did. Like
Nice
that.
hair.
That exact look is what I try to recreate in my like with my natural hair. And she's like, "Yeah, I just rolled out of bed." Like, fuck off.
Really bad hair day today.
But to me, I think it looks hot. So I don't know what you're talking about. Because
Yeah.
yeah.
Here. This doesn't fly here in Colombia.
Oh, okay. Why not?
Because
Just-
I'm not, my hair's not brushed. It's a mess.
Oh, okay.
It's funny. It's funny that doesn't fly in Colombia, flies in Canada.
Yeah, we don't own brushes up here. So, it's just
Hot.
Hola.
Hi, I'm Lenora Faye. I'm the creator of The Bitchy Bookkeeper, which is a child-free lifestyle brand that creates products, events, and content for the child-free community.
Hi, I'm Isabel. I am a coach for child-free women. I also have a podcast called The Honest Uproar, and my brand is called The Uprising Spark.
Hi, I'm Kristen. I am primarily a writer of things. Most recently, The Age of the Child, a novel that has child-free sensibilities. And we are the 3 founding non-mothers of Childfree Girls. And today we are having an unedited episode, just because sometimes it's fun to do that. And today we're talking about how people without children can possibly be overwhelmed or extraordinarily tired. I'm not quite sure how that's possible because I've been led to believe that if you don't have kids, you don't know what tired is. So if either Isabel or Lenore would like to educate me about how it's even remotely possible that I could feel as overwhelmed today as I was, that I ended up wearing this hat and wasn't even about to take a shower or put any effort into this at all, at least not into my appearance, then do tell.
I think that's why I overcompensate. No, I'm kidding. I'm just going to dress for the 3 of us. Well, I think Isabel should start with the overwhelming feeling without having to go into personal details, but just I kind of want to talk about the overwhelming angle because that's something I've often felt too.
I think before we do that, and this, like we said, this is unedited, but it's mostly unedited because I'm gonna insert here a video of someone in TikTok who was like, "You don't have the right to be tired."
People be like, "I'm tired," but you don't have kids. Tired of what? Being able to get off work and rest and chill? Tired of what? Peace and quiet? Tired of what? Privacy? Tired of what? Being able to enjoy your own food?
Right. So overwhelmed. I have been feeling very overwhelmed in the past few days, and this is not something that is new. It happens to me a lot. And I've come to realize that it's due just to a bunch of things happening at the same time. So, I mean, you don't have to have children to have a lot of things happening to you at the same time. Like, there's just so much. I was telling you girls that I feel pulled in like so many different directions. And it's not only about my job or, my brand or whatever I do, however I connect with people. It's like everything. It's my personal life. It's my professional life. It's like a bunch of things that are happening, everything at the same time. And the thing is, I need to solve all of this. I'm usually a problem solver. Like, I'm that kind of person that, we have a problem and I'm going to be like, let's find a solution. Like, don't cry. Let's just fucking find a solution. Right. But when I try to find a solution for 15 things at the same time, I get overwhelmed. because for me, it's hard to take one thing at a time to say, okay, what is it I need to solve first? And then do that. And then what do I need to solve second and do that? So I just feel like really overwhelmed and I kind of like just block. I just get like blocked. So I get paralyzed. So I don't do anything in the end. And then I got even more overwhelmed because I'm not doing anything about anything of this. And it's just like this ball of, those balls in the old Western movies that kind of like roll like that. I don't even know what
Tumbleweeds?
they are.
No,
Huh?
old Western movies.
Like tumbleweeds, like the
Yeah,
thing outside.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
those. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. Like, it sounds like a tumbleweed. Okay.
Yeah, but imagine tumbleweeds. You know what? That's not really a good analogy. It's like a snowball rolling down a mountain.
You can tell you don't.
I was
you-
like,
You can tell you don't live in a country that has snow because that sounds like a snowball here in Canada.
or tumbleweeds for that matter. I was just like,
I guess.
it rolls. It just kind of like goes and nothing stops it. But in
Right.
this case, snowball because the snowball effect. Of course, everyone knows what I'm talking about. I
Do
hope
tumbleweeds get bigger? I've
no,
never
they
seen-
don't. That's
Oh,
why.
okay.
So that was a bad analogy. No.
Okay.
Let's stick to the snow. This is what we know. This little snow
Talking about
rolling down. A tumbleweed with snow on it. No. Yeah. So it just kind of like it just grows bigger and more overwhelming, and it's just. And I know that a lot of it has to do with the fact that I suffer from depression and anxiety. So there's a factor that factors in a way. But I also know people who also feel overwhelmed, who also don't have children. So I don't know who decided that only parents could feel tired. I have no idea who decided that. And I understand, parents being overwhelmed about having to take care of children, small children, especially, just being on top of it all the time because they need to feed the kids. They need to make sure the kids are clean and safe and do their homework or whatever it is that parents do. I get it, but that doesn't mean that they have like the monopoly of being tired.
And see, to that point, I often think like being overwhelmed doesn't have to necessarily be a bad thing. It depends on what you're overwhelmed with. Like when you brought up that discussion, I know when I read it and I was telling you what I thought about it, I keep thinking of like I'm overwhelmed or you're overwhelmed. We are overwhelmed by the responsibilities of something that we've created, for example, right? Which to me, I look at it from the point of view as I would have killed to have been overwhelmed by all of this stuff. But then that's just my point of view of, if it's business related or professional related, being overwhelmed, because we're needed in many different places. Like, I don't know if that was particularly your experience, but when I'm personally overwhelmed by everything that I do, I go, okay, well, this was my choice because, you never know when things are going to hit and all of a sudden you're needed all at once. Because sometimes you go for years without being needed and suddenly then you're finding yourself, oh, everybody needs you and wants you for everything. And you're like, what do I do? And yes, the whole let's have a nap thing for sure. So I try and look at it from the point of it's a privilege. But having said that, when your body's ready to shut down, it's ready to shut down. So no matter how happy you are that you have all these amazing opportunities, you need to stop. And why should we shove that aside and say, oh, well, yeah, you're right. We're not raising 6 kids. Therefore, I really don't feel that tired or overwhelmed after all. Like, that's crap. Just because, again, it comes down to choices. We chose not to have children. We chose to invest our time in other things. And sometimes those other things create a lot of overwhelming feelings because, there's responsibility involved. And yeah, we're probably not going to get thrown in jail if we shirk that responsibility. We can sometimes shut down and have a nap, but sometimes you can't. I think about when I was like bakery manager and that was 50 hours a week or more if it was peak season. Like there was no stopping and it was just constant work for 14 hours a day or what have you. And I couldn't take a nap in the middle of that. I mean, why should, and there was times where I was just like done, but I still had to keep going. So why should that be any less than someone who is overwhelmed by young children? It's still feeling tired. It's still feeling overwhelmed. The only reason it's maybe considered less is because society values or puts parenthood on a pedestal. So therefore, that's the one that wins the race in the overwhelming feeling.
I think the problem probably arises with a parent saying, you can't complain to me about being tired if you don't have kids, as if anyone is trying to compete for most tired or most overwhelmed. Hey, if you want to be queen or king of being overwhelmed, take it. I don't want it. I'm not gonna try to tell you I'm tireder than you are or more overwhelmed than you are. I don't like being overwhelmed. I get pissed off when I'm overwhelmed. I'm kind of like Isabel, if I have, I don't know, let's just say, like, there was one time there were 4 different things I wanted to write. Like, I wanted to write X novel, but then I also had this other X novel I wanted to write, but then I also wanted to write this thing for Medium, and then I wanted to write this thing. And so I'm like, well, I obviously can't write any of these. Just can't, because I want to write them all. So that just means they're all out of there. And that frustrates me, because, as soon as you start focusing on one thing, you're thinking about the other thing. And then how are you, it's just, I don't like it. And I think all things being equal, like if what might overwhelm someone without kids is their full-time job, plus their creative pursuits, plus their charity, plus taking care of a house, plus having to go grocery shopping. I mean, everyone has their everyday life stuff they have to do that kind of gets in the way of all the stuff we want to do. So now put a kid on top of all of that. And yeah, you're probably more overwhelmed. And trophy, I guess, I don't know. I mean, I don't want it. I'll happily relinquish any kind of trophy or whatever. I mean, just stop trying to make it a competition. It's like so many articles out there. Who's happier, parents or people without kids? Who's happier, people who are married or people who aren't married? Who's happier, people with 1 kid or people with 2 kids? Are people happier like when the kid's 4 years old or when the kids move out of the house? Turns out it's when the kids move out of the house. But it's like there's this whole thing, like someone needs to be happier or more miserable than someone else. It seems like misery is sort of the trend. Like, oh, you think you're unhappy? I am so unhappy that I just can't. You know what I mean? I mean, why? Why do you want to be the unhappy person? Why do you want to be the big sufferer? I don't get it.
That would make a great Halloween episode. We should be like
the most suffering. The
yes.
most sufferers.
For our next Halloween episode, that's what we should do.
God, we should. Insufferable sufferers.
That would be so fun. Just the way you did it, the voice, I was like, okay. I can't remember if we had an idea planned. For some reason,
I like that one. That one's way more fun because we just sit around and complain.
Done.
Well, you heard it here first. We're gonna do that for Halloween. So,
yeah.
Wait until October to get this.
Yes.
It already sounds like fun to me. But yeah, I don't. I honestly like. I think complaining helps, but at the same time I don't want to feel whiny either, I mean, I'm not talking about the Halloween episode, I'm just talking about in general in life.
Okay. But is it considered complaining though, Isabel? Because you're expressing yourself like what you said. You're like, I just need to put that out there. To me, that wasn't a complaint. You were just expressing how you felt because you needed to say it. And to me, that's not a complaint. That's because you don't sit there and go, oh my God, I got this and this and this and this. Like, you're just saying, I'm feeling this way. I just need to get it out. And we acknowledged it. And I think that's healthy though. I don't think that's a complaint.
I agree that complaining is fine too, but I'm just like, the problem is the competition. I mean, everyone's going to complain about something, that's fine, but why compete for it?
No, I agree. And I agree with you, Lenore. Like, I wanted to put it out there because I needed to get it out of my system. And what Lenore is referring to those who are listening or watching this, is that we have our private chat with Childfree Girls, and I just put there, I'm overwhelmed. Just needed to put this out there, and that was it. And then, Kristen and Lenore obviously acknowledged it. But I am talking about people who are constantly complaining like, all the time, like I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person who's always like, oh, my life sucks. Like, that's not.
Because also we'd be like, Isabel, it so doesn't.
Yeah. And also I have made the choices I have made for myself. I chose to do this. I chose to be here. There's so many things that of all the things that I feel overwhelmed about right now, there's only like one that I didn't choose. The rest of them are choices, so and there's another thing that I wanted to say regarding parents who think they have the monopoly of being tired. This conversation also happened, I don't remember which group on Facebook or somewhere, and somebody said, I feel that parents who say that do not acknowledge that there are people who, for example, suffer from chronic illnesses, who keep them tired all the time. So these people with a chronic illness cannot even function properly due to the illness, and they're always tired or overwhelmed, whether it's a mental illness or physical illness, or a combination of both. So they don't really acknowledge that there are people who, like, just under normal circumstances cannot even function correctly due to feeling completely exhausted. And I think that's also a fair point. It's not my case, but I feel that that's also a fair point.
But then imagine having that chronic illness and being a parent.
You know what?
More tired and more overwhelmed because they are also a parent. And also, you're always not going to consider someone. I mean, you can't, if someone's making a general comment like that, of course, they're not considering people with chronic illness. They're not considering people who are caring for, let's say, two parents who need life care or whatever, plus a kid, plus I mean, really, the possibilities are endless. You're not going to consider them all. And when people make comments like that, they're not thinking about those people, obviously, because there's just no room in anyone's head to think about every single possible person who's not being considered. So while I can appreciate that perspective, I also find it kind of annoying because it's unrealistic. No,
And can I add?
I'm not thinking about you. I just don't automatically think about you. If your attention, like if my attention is drawn to you, yes, I'll be like, oh God, that sucks, that's awful. But I'm not just, thinking about every single condition every single day of my life.
And to that point, the people that want to, who have kids, who want to complain about how tired they are. And again, it's fine to state how you feel. I think we should state how we feel and instead of, bottling it up. But, to what you said earlier, so I grew up with an ill mom. Never once did I hear her say, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. And she was in bed a lot when I think back to it. Like I never thought anything of it because she was always like that. I mean, she was a stay-at-home mom and she drove us everywhere and she was very involved. But like the year we moved when I was 12, she was bedridden for almost a year. The entire time she was even ill before her death, never once did I, and no, I wasn't living at home, but for everyone that helped her out told me later, never once did my mom complain about, oh, I have to raise kids. I have this illness. Nobody knew she was sick. She was just, physically you could tell that she was ailing, but she never talked about it. But I mean, my mom was the type that didn't want to draw attention to herself, which I think is my point I'm trying to make. So again, growing up with an ill mom, had two children. Yes, my dad was, he supported the family. He was my parents were married. I grew up with both parents. But I think a lot of times, like if it's, there's one thing to say it, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm tired, I have all these kids, or my kids are driving me nuts, or whatever parents say when they're trying to compare. But then there's the constant comparison. I think that's for attention. As someone who had a mother who had every right to say, I'm freaking exhausted, I am dying of an illness, and I have these kids, and one of them is Lenora, like I am tired. Because I was not any, teenage Lenora always spoke her mind, and I was not raised to be that way, but that's how I am. So, I mean, just when you were saying that, and I was thinking about my own mother, and she was not someone who sought attention. So I'm not sure we were even related, but I'm trying to be
I'm still hung up on I'm raising two children, and one of them is Lenora.
Well, it's true. I do not apologize for it. Another reason why I will not have children, because I do not want to raise a mini me. But you know what? My point is that like some people do want the attention. And so one way to get it is saying, I am tired. Look at all my kids. I am tired. That's going to be, I mean, geez, like Alec Baldwin's wife with all those children, and she's saying how exhausted she is, but she's on the cover of People magazine every time she has a kid. Like it's attention. Some people, that's the only way they will ever get attention. you know?
She complains about being tired.
Yes. And I only know that just because I don't Google her, but I read People magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie doesn't. She has a ton of kids.
But Angelina Jolie does not need attention for that. She's established in other ways. I think,
True.
you know, like, don't you know, and this is not even a celebrity thing, like people that you know in your life, whether you work with them or whether they're family members or friends or whatnot, the people that don't need attention, like don't, you know, that are secure, you know, who get attention, but they don't need to do certain things to get it, are the ones that are established and probably pretty confident, you know. And then there's those that are not established and just use certain things to get attention. So that's a big difference between that person and Angelina Jolie, because Angelina Jolie has to step outside and she will have all the attention she wants because she's Angelina frickin' Jolie, you know?
She must have like 20 nannies per kid.
Oh yeah. Well, I think some of them they got to be getting older now though.
Yeah.
So,
you know what I was thinking? Just circle back to, you know, the whole thing about being child-free or not being able to say that you're tired. What is it that parents think that we do? And I'm saying this based on like the video that, because he's like, you get home, like you get tired of getting home and just chilling, like you're tired of just sleeping at night. Are you tired of, what do you guys, like seriously, what do parents think that child-free people do all day? Like just scratch our bellies and watch the sunset?
well, now we know what Isabel does. No.
Who has a belly itch? Isabel, Isabel.
Seriously though, what do they think we do? We just get home and we're like, well, I don't have any kids, so now I don't have absolutely nothing to do. I'm just gonna sit here and wait until I have to go back to work.
You know what?
Like,
in some respect, that's true, because after like starting at about 6 o'clock, that is when I have either a beer or a glass of wine. I don't do anything but sit there and drink that drink because it's my end of day relaxing thing. And I make dinner when I want to eat. And then I go to bed, you know, and I just kind of chill out and watch TV for that part of the evening. And they can't do that because they have to make the kids dinner. They probably have to tell their kids to put away their toys. They probably have to bathe the kids. So if they think that all we do, or at least all some child-free people do at night, is just we just sit on the couch and like watch TV and then eat. Yes. But that's after a very busy day. I've earned that shit. And that you don't have that. I mean, it's interesting that they would be envious of that because they had the kids, they enjoy the kids, it's part of their family, they're hanging out with their family, just like I hang out with my family when Ian and I sit on the couch and have our beer and watch TV and do nothing else. We like hanging out with each other. So parents, I'm sure, love hanging out with their kids at night and giving them baths and putting little socks on their feet and feeding them macaroni and cheese or whatever. I mean, that's the fun stuff, right?
that sounds like,
or from my perspective as an aunt, it's like I make the supper, give them the grilled cheese and the macaroni and cheese and because the 15-year-old now consumes more food than everybody. And then they play their games until like 3 a.m. and then I've gone to bed, and then I go downstairs at 5 a.m. and the TV's still on and they're passed out in front of on their devices on the couch. And I'm like covering one with a blanket, taking the glasses off another. It's like, okay, like that's just my aunting perspective. That you made it sound really like organized. I don't think it really is.
No, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure there's an attempt to make it organized because it feels good
Yes.
to not have something chaotic every single day.
Really? Oh, okay. Yeah.
even
Okay.
my dog has a routine. Come on. If I had a kid, I think I would be like, 7 o'clock, do this. 7:05, I need you here. 7:30.
Oh,
I would try at least. I don't
Me
know, unless
too.
the kid comes out, like naked all over the house after he takes the bath or whatever. Like, I would try.
there is a time. There's definitely a time period where kids don't want to wear anything. So yeah, you'd be. Oh, you're.
And they don't like they don't want to cooperate either. You know,
Mhm.
you tell them go to bed, they'll be like, I don't want to, and tell them like, okay, come here and let's do a game. I don't want to, like, I don't know. This is there's like a period of time when everything that you tell them, they say no.
And then there's teenagehood, which is, I think, even worse.
Oh.
Okay, so I have a question for both of you then. okay, when you are in that state of seriously being overwhelmed, whether it's personal, professional, whatever, what do you do to get past that or to move through it? What do you do, Kristen? What do you do? Like when you're like seriously overwhelmed?
I want to know what Isabel does.
Okay, Isabel, what do you do?
I express my feeling and I breathe. I do a lot of breathing exercises. I think that's the one thing that really helps me, because when I'm feeling super overwhelmed, I can't even like meditate or try to journal or anything like that. Like my brain's going at 1,000 miles an hour. So it's hard for me to like try to focus on calming it down.
Mhm.
So what I do is I just sit down and I'm like, I'm going to do some breathing exercises, and that helps me. But mostly it's just like putting it out there, not for someone to be like, oh, you poor thing, or, no, it's not even for that, or oh, how can I help? It's not even that. That's not even the point. The point is just I just need to let it out, to put it out there and say, yes, this is me. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I'm human. Unfortunately, I'm not Superman or Superwoman. I can't do it all. So if I'm feeling like this, maybe I need to stop for a little bit. It's hard.
Funny how sometimes just saying the words can make it go away in some cases.
Mhm.
Like if whatever the emotion is, if I'm walking around being mad about something, usually it's because I'm overwhelmed. It just makes me angry. Ian will ask what's up, and because I don't normally it's not natural for me to be like just feeling expressy. I'll just sort of be like nothing and stomp around some more. But then as soon as I do tell him, okay, well, it's this and this and this, it's just like, it just, so much of it goes away. I don't know why, just putting it in words in the air works, but that is not a method that I use typically. It's usually if I'm pestered into telling him, it's like, fine, it's this.
Oh, that's what we have to do, Isabel. When she's not telling us things, we just have to pester her until she explodes. Okay.
But otherwise, yeah, I don't deal with being overwhelmed very well at all. I just, I've only recently learned that I am in control of my schedule. So if I feel like I'm crunching too much into too little time, I just have to remember I'm the one crunching too much into too little time. So maybe I can, no matter what plan I had for this thing I wanted to do today, am I going to die if I do it tomorrow instead? No. So why don't I just do it tomorrow? And as soon as that decision is made, it's good. But it's for some reason making that decision, it's flicking an item off of my schedule to the next day that I just find really hard. I don't know why.
I definitely get that. It's because I feel like I've made, oops, sorry, really loud. I don't know how that happened. And it wasn't me, it was my mic. I feel guilty or, for saying, okay, I have to do this tomorrow or even next week. You're saying, I think you said that once to me, because I said, yeah, I removed some things from my schedule, and you're like, yeah, see, you didn't die. But there's the back of my mind because I've made commitments. And I mean, if it's a big one, then I won't reschedule. But if I say I'm going to do something or even make a commitment to myself, I still want to follow through, because that's one of my biggest pet peeves is when, someone doesn't follow through with something. And of course there's always circumstances, and that's fine. But, I like to follow through with things. What I do is I call my brother. My brother and I have this thing. If I don't know, it's always kind of been that way. Like if I'm feeling, my sexy answer is I take a drive to the mountains, because I do. But in those moments where I'm like, because I still have to, pack my purse and get into my car and open the garage and drive out, it's a process. But if I'm just like, oh my God. Oh dear, what? I said something funny, apparently. Kristen's laughing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
What?
This is normal. This happens all the time.
It does.
Okay.
just, God, the whole starting the car and putting your foot on the gas and opening the garage door and putting it into reverse. Oh my God.
Hey, but you know what? I have one of those cars that just have a push button. I don't even have to put the key in the ignition. It's a lot easier nowadays.
Yeah.
No, but I call my brother. My point is like, there's other things I do to like feel underwhelmed or whelmed or whatever, yeah, underwhelmed to whatever, to go back to normal. But, like there's a process to going out even to a movie. So the easiest thing is picking up my phone and calling my brother just to talk things through. Sometimes they're like, hey, you have 5 minutes? I just need to talk. You don't have to say anything. And that's what happens. I'll yammer for 5 minutes. And I'm like, thanks. He's like, okay, have a good day. And then that's it. Seriously. And then there's times where he calls me. He's like, do you have a minute? I just need to talk. And I won't let him talk, but I'll do the talking. And then he'll listen. No, I let him listen. I let him talk once in a while. But that's the quickest thing, because it's the same thing as he was just saying it. Because then once I've verbalized it, I'm like, oh, okay, I see what's happening. And I see a solution. And then, yeah, half of the energy is gone, so that I can kind of make a plan where I can still meet my, I can follow through with the plans I've made, or whatever it is that's overwhelming me. I can follow through with it, but I don't feel so stuck or trapped, because I am very me when I feel trapped and stuck. Like I don't handle it well either, because I want to move forward. But when I do feel stuck, the reason why I live alone, and it works for me.
This has been, I think I like the way this conversation ended.
Yeah. I like the whole conversation. It was very fun.
It was all good. Yes. I like the whole thing too.
She's like, it's done. Thank God. Okay, I gotta go.
No, not at all. No, I liked it. Because I think it's hard. It's not as easy as it would seem to teach yourself how to jump out of an overwhelming situation, and I liked hearing what you two had to say about that, because I'm going to probably try to practice breathing now, or just tell Ian the way you tell your brother, and just like offer it, instead of thinking that I have to just walk around grumbling and being an asshole, which is not pleasant for anybody.
Yeah. Well, and again, there's going to be overwhelmed people who are watching this, so it's good to say, well, what do we do? Because some people just like to hear what other people do, and that helps, So
that's a good question to ask.
That would be a great. I was going to say the same. That would be a great question. I just want to say before we wrap up that I'm feeling a lot less overwhelmed now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Yay.
Nora, you can wrap up.
Well, why am I wrapping up? Aren't you moderating?
No, I kind of opened it, but I think you really moderated. I think that's just your natural thing.
Clubhouse is, since doing Clubhouse, it's like, because I just like helping the flow of the conversation. I don't have to talk. It's just the moderating is just fun. And I hated moderating when we started this show because I didn't know how to do it. Still learning.
You're good at listing all the social media stuff, and I'm good at the questions. So
okay. So
I'm good at the question. Like, what a stupid thing to be good at.
All right. Well, that is it for today's episode. Thank you for joining us. If you stuck with us the whole way, congratulations.
Yay.
This is what really happens when we don't edit. So you can find us all over social media. We are at what?
No, you only get the email and the website.
Well, she said social media, so I was going to do social media.
I suck at social media.
Okay.
In all ways.
Isabel's waving goodbye at me. All right. Well,
bye. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Someone else is going to do social media. You can. Our website is Childfree Girls. I can't do this.
Our website is childfreegirls.com. What's the other part?
It's childfreegirls@gmail.com. And you can now find us all over social media, Lenora.
Hey, that's what I was trying to do in the first place. You can find us on Instagram at Childfree Girls. We're on Facebook at Childfree Girls. We're on Twitter at Childfree Girls. You can also find us on Amazon, where our book is there, and Childfree Girls, Comfort Food for Thought. We're also on Clubhouse. You can find us. We have Childfree Club. It's not Childfree Girls. We are listed individually. So just search Childfree Club. We are on 7 days a week. We host rooms It's so much fun. If you want an invite, reach out to us. It's available on Android and iPhone all over the world now. So you can reach out to us if you'd like an invite and more details on how to join that. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Even if you're listening to the podcast, head over to our YouTube channel. It's at Childfree Girls, and hit the subscribe button because that would help us out. Thank you so much.
A quick note on Clubhouse is there's no, like, if you're unfamiliar with it or if you think it's weird, it's totally fine because you just go on, check out a room. You don't have to talk. You can just sit there and listen and just kind of get a feel for it and see what it's all about. Our question for this episode is, what overwhelms you, if you want to answer that? And for everyone, how do you get out of being overwhelmed? How do you stop feeling so overwhelmed when you are? Put your answer in the comments or send them to our email address, which again was childfreegirls@gmail.com. Yeah, tell us what you do, because I think we want to know so we can do it too.
Do you think we definitely want to know.
We definitely want to know, yeah. Help.
We're feeling overwhelmed right now.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. No, you say bye.
No, you say bye.
Oh my God, I'm leaving.
You leave first.
I'm going.
Bye.
Bye.